Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
We're here to cover Bring Her Back by her, My Bloody Judy. So, bring My Bloody Judy back. Bring Her Back is the newest movie that literally just came out this past weekend, and it is by the filmmakers, the guys who made Talk to Me. Raka Raka, Danny and Michael Philippou. I might even be getting that one wrong, but Raka, it seems to be.
I was like, I'm gonna let Zach say it because I don't know how to say it.
Raka. Couple of weirdos they are. I you know what excites me before like we get into like guessing whether each other liked the movie. What's really exciting is that we seem to have like, because Ari Aster seems to have like skipped out of the space. He's just like pieced out of the horror space for now. But we've got these guys who are like giving us the Ari Aster effect, whereas like their movies are very clearly defined. Like I know that these are their movies. Both of the movies seem like they're made by the same people, have the same style. The titles are very like a little sentence, a little like directive or something like that. So that's nice to have coming back into horror.
Well, and I will say, again, not even talking about, there was a moment in the movie, I did see it stoned, that I was like, this is an Ari Aster movie, so everybody's gonna die. And I kept being like, oh wait, it's not an Ari Aster movie.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into the comparisons, I guess. But I am very, very curious to hear if you enjoyed this one, because I think that I knew, like, I didn't know anything about this movie going into it. Like, I'd seen like the trailer whenever I go to the movies, but like it doesn't really tell you anything. I think that was a really good trailer because it didn't really say anything. Bring Her Back, you can kind of it implies that somebody's gonna die, right? But I don't even think in the trailer that you see Piper really. So like, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know she was there because I thought it was all about this little boy.
I had never seen the trailer. I'd only seen like whatever the like poster image with like the bloody hand over the head.
So after seeing the movie, I knew that it was going to be like really heavy for you. I do think you liked it though. Because we're getting a lot of Bring Her Back and Hereditary comparisons.
Yeah.
And I think you would still like Hereditary more, but I think you do like this one. But it was a very heavy watch, especially stoned. Stoned? You wouldn't saw this stoned. Craziness.
I like very quickly was not stoned anymore once it got intense. I was like, oh, well, I'm awake. I think that you liked it, but is not a movie you would need to watch again.
Okay. All right. You answer first. What I get right and wrong?
So I'm still not sure how to word it because I do think it's a really good movie.
Mm.
I just didn't enjoy watching it, if that makes sense. Like I don't think it's bad. I think it's really well done. I think that it's like bananas how like that we had like very much they did a good job of like setting up these characters. Like I felt like it's like a good 30 minutes before like gross shit starts happening.
It's only like an hour and a half movie.
Yeah. Also that because I looked at the time at one point because I was like I feel like I've said this before. I hit a point when I'm just like, I just would want to die. Like and I was like, these kids just need to die because like, just let them get out of this and just kill them because I don't want them suffering anymore. And once I hit that point, I was like, what time is it? And I was like, oh, we've only been here like an hour and 10 minutes. There's so much more left. But then there was not because the movie's actually pretty fucking short. Yeah, I think it's really well done. It's really frustrating. That shit frustrates me. Any type of like gaslighting, like, and getting away with it always like frustrates me to no end. I still hadn't watched Bring Her, or I still haven't watched Talk to Me, and I meant
have you
to watch
not?
it.
I thought you have. I feel have we not covered that?
No, you told me that you thought I would think it was a little too bleak.
Oh well,
and
yes.
I felt like that was probably true,
This
but
was
also
more bleak. That one's actually kind of a walk in the park.
That's what Kevin said, because when Kevin was home this weekend, my straight guy best friend for everyone listening, and he was like, we went out to something on Saturday, and we made plans to see that movie, and he was like, you should watch Talk to Me first, because I feel like these directors probably have the same vibe.
I think you should watch Talk to Me after this one, because then you won't be able to, the lesser evil of the two will be fresher in your brain, and I think that's more helpful.
And he was like, but it is really bleak. And so I didn't want to turn it on because I feel a little depressed. I was like, I don't really
Hmm.
want to watch a bleak thing. Um, and then when we got out, he was like, no, this was more bleak. He was like, this is way more bleak than Talk to Me.
Yes.
And he said he thought it was gorier too. Like he
Yeah.
said in Talk to Me, there's gore, but it like this had
This
worse.
upped the ante, absolutely. Because I, oh my gosh,
I closed my, this is like the first time in forever I've like fully closed. Like I'm just like, nope, I
yeah.
don't need to see it. And the sounds, it reminded
Listen,
me,
listen,
I
it's
feel like I've talked
insane.
about this a lot about
Mhm.
Saw X, that like I did not like that movie. I think it's a bad movie on top of everything else, but the like gore was just so miserable that I like shut my eyes. But the noise of that woman wire cutting her thigh and screaming, like that noise upset me in a way that this movie had noises. The crunching, woof, woof.
They had sound design with this one, and we'll get further into that one. I think I felt similarly to you. I absolutely loved this movie. I thought it was like fucking phenomenal, and it gave me that sort of heightened sense of dread and uncomfortableness that Hereditary did.
Yeah,
I think the Hereditary comparisons are very fair. I've been seeing a
yeah.
lot of people who are like kind of shitting on that. And it's like if you compare the two,
No,
you're not a horror fan, and absolutely not. These are like these are sister movies, you know. Um,
yeah, yeah. I
and
don't
it
say that
gave
as
me
a
that
negative.
same, and I
Yeah,
haven't had that from a movie since Hereditary, and Hereditary was like really like a one-off shining star
yeah, yeah,
in my sort of I guess list of favorite horror movies. I don't know if this one would rank just yet. I think it
yeah,
will,
yeah.
but I do want to watch it again. Hereditary I saw like three times in the theater. I need space with this one. I need to have a moment because this was a lot. You know, with Hereditary, they did a lot with building dread, but then also letting you sit with these really long shots and this like really
Yeah.
heightened music, and it added like a whole other 30 minutes onto the movie, right?
Yeah,
This one
yeah.
took out all the long shots and all of the really heightened music and just gave you the horrible things.
We got a few wide shots, but it'd be quick. It'd be
The
like,
wide
yep, here's
shots are quick and something is happening in the wide
right.
shot. Like something is very pointed, right? Like we don't have these long just tracking shots in as in Hereditary. Um I this one just it was a movie that I did not enjoy watching, but I
Yeah.
loved, if that makes sense. Like I just
No,
did
yeah.
not enjoy sitting there watching it, but while I was sitting here, I was like, this is real horror. This is like a real horror movie, right? It like does the things for you that horror is supposed to do in a very specific way. And I don't know, you have your fun horror movies. This is not that. This is not
No,
a fun horror movie,
no.
but this is a horror movie that really digs out and forces out like certain emotions. And I love shit like
Yeah.
that. I love my elevated horror. You know, Jenna Ortega would love this one.
She
Sam
she would. She would love
or
it.
what's her name? I
Tara.
already forgot her name. Tara.
Tara? Yeah, Tara.
Yes, yes, she would love this one. So,
Yeah, and like what did I say? Oh, I said that when we left, I said that it was Hereditary meets Psycho is what I felt it was.
mhm.
Um, but like I don't know. There comes a point when something is so bleak for me. Like by the time that social worker is like, I'll go back to the house with you. I was like, she's not even bringing a single police officer.
And there was a police officer in the room too. I was
There
screaming. I
was
was screaming. I'm like, that man's coming, surely, right?
like, of course you would take a police
No, no,
officer with
we
you,
take our little
right?
beep beep green car to the house,
In our cute green coat.
unguarded. Okay. So I guess I want to start with the performances because I think the performances are like top notch from everybody, right? Like I went to the Wikipedia page and you can't even click on half their names. So all of these
Yeah,
people are like fresh, brand new, right? And
the kids are
I
all
did
yeah.
not know who this and the Laura was, the foster mom. I couldn't figure it, but I knew her face. I was like, I fucking know her, but what is she in? Shape of Water.
Yeah, yeah.
And she just has that really like glum face. Like her face is sad. And I think that really adds to the level of this character and the emotions that she has.
Do you know? So I knew that it was the woman for Shape of Water because Kevin
Mhm.
has a crush on her, and he was like,
Okay.
"Oh yeah, the she's in something else that he kept referencing."
Hmm.
Um, and the whole movie, I kept being like, you remember the Austin Powers movies? Do you
Yeah.
like know them kind of
Yes.
well? Okay.
Yeah.
She looks like Dr. Evil's like second
She
hand
does.
assistant
The one who
woman,
yells
Frau
all the
Farbissa.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I kept being like, wow, that lady's got range. I was like, wait, it can't be that
It's
lady. This
not.
woman's
No,
too
no, no.
young.
That woman is like
A lot
60s
older.
or
Yes.
70 by now, right? This woman is still very much young. Let me see how old she is. I won't say it.
No,
Yeah,
but she's
very
probably
young.
my
Very
age,
young still.
like younger than me.
Um,
Yeah.
hmm And she has a very
Yeah,
like
but
timeless face.
she does. Yes. Um, and I thought both kids were like
So
fantastic.
good. Well, I was wondering what he was in too, because I'm like, I've seen that face as well. Andy. And he was in Craven. Now I recently saw Craven, so he's
Oh,
fresh in
okay.
my mind right now.
I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
So he was fantastic. Piper fucking broke my heart at every moment in the movie. And then poor Ollie. I don't even want to call him Ollie because that's not his name. His name is Connor? Connor Bird. I'm gonna call
Yes,
him
yes.
Connor in this movie.
Connor.
Give him his actual name. Not that disrespectful Ollie shit. It's a movie full of performances that all broke my heart and all made me
Yeah.
feel things in just different ways. And you really have like it's not just like one kid that you're kind of like, oh, I feel bad for that kid. It's
Yeah.
three of them. We have three kids that I'm like, there's no way they're all making it out. I don't think any of them are making it out.
I couldn't even, my brain couldn't even like, I was like, well, Connor's dead. That's a zombie, so that kid's
Yeah,
gone. I'm only worried about these two children because I don't have the bandwidth to also worry about a possibly dead zombie
yeah,
child. And like, I kept like, I'm not to toot my own horn, but sometimes I'm pretty good at like predicting what I think an
yeah.
ending will be. I had like five different endings in my head and they were all wrong.
Because I was sure that Piper was dead. Because then I kept thinking of the title, Bring Her Back, and I'm like, no,
Yes.
that has to be about Piper. She's probably going to die halfway through. It's going to be that hereditary. And that's the thing. This is where the unfair comparisons of Hereditary come in because I kept predicting Hereditary plot parts, right? Like I was like, oh, well, she'll die halfway through, or it'll be like the surprise death, right? Piper's going to die. It's going to make us all feel bad, and then Andy's going to somehow get like possessed or some shit like that, right? Um, no, Piper makes
I
it.
even when once we got to like the last final act or whatever,
Mm,
I was like, okay, so Piper is gonna die. The daughter's gonna inhabit her body and then kill the mom because she's like gonna either not come back right or hate what her mom did. Then she's gonna kill the mom and then she'll kill herself. And that's really what I thought. So it was at least not
yeah.
that bleak.
It, I don't know. I mean, like, it was still pretty damn
No, it's
bleak,
still
though.
bleak. I'm not
Yeah,
saying it's
like,
not.
I don't know which one would have been less bleak for me. Because, I mean, if I'm dead, I'm dead. At least I don't have to go on without my brother Andy. Because I felt terrible that Piper makes it through this movie. She does make it. She fights her way out. She gets out of there. And we last see her getting picked up by a car and sitting in this car with like a tear streak running down her face. And I can just only know what's going through her head is, oh, well, Andy's gone now. I don't have my brother anymore. Andy's gone. Because I was real scared for her at the beginning of the movie because I figured, okay, well, she's probably going to be like this target. She's going to die. It's going to be
Yeah,
real
yeah.
sad to watch. But at the beginning of the movie, I was like, okay, she doesn't have any friends because nobody fucking likes her, and Andy is the only one nice to her. I'm like, she better not fucking lose Andy, and she did. The worst
She did.
possible. I will
She
say the
sure
only
did.
saving grace seems to be at least they gave us a little bit of a morsel of something where when
Yes.
she's at the gymnasium, we see that she has now made friends, which is
Yeah.
thank goodness she does not have to be like completely.
Cause right, like that's what I was saying. I was like, when when she hits the social service lady with the fucking car and
Yeah.
he's like half dead, I was like, let this kid die. Like I don't want to survive all of this. Like just let me die. And I
No,
felt
I
like
wanted him alive.
I hit a point in these like movies like this where I'm like, I would not want to go on with all this trauma, so let me die. So I was like, just let these kids get free and die. Like
No, he
I didn't
loves
want them to
Piper.
suffer.
He wanted to make it out of this, and she needed
But
him to make it out of this too. Like I
she
think
did.
she's worse off without him.
I yes, I felt like like you said, at least we saw that she could make friends, and then at least I actually did get a little like, oh, when she's like, she can hear the plane flying overhead. I was
Yes.
like, oh,
And
this sweet
because she
child.
also she can see light, she can see shapes, so she can probably see that plane up there too. And like,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. It's the whole thing is very frustrating for me. This movie is just a very frustrating movie,
Yes.
and for
Yeah.
different reasons for everybody. For her, it's like people judge her based on her blindness
Yeah.
and her outward I sort of appearance, which isn't it doesn't look crazy. They're thinking they are acting like she's walking up looking like the damn Elephant Man, right?
Yeah. Like,
It's crazy to me.
it's like she
And
has a lazy eye. Like,
immediately she is quick-witted. She has that like really ballsy, broady humor. Like, and I'm
yeah.
like, what? That would be funny to me. I would find a person
Yeah.
like this insanely charming and funny, like right off of the bat. So it frustrated me that like people were acting like she was weird when she really wasn't. She went as far as to call her brother a pedo, you know, like she was quick with it. So I was really happy to see that she goes to the gymnasium and she's not this like wilting sort of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
flower because that's so easy to paint this person with a disability who's like just this wilting flower. No, put her in a social situation. She is like dying to come alive, right?
Yeah.
Um, and she goes to the gymnasium. She's slamming balls into people's balls. She is making friends, eating, you know, at lunch and all of these things. And so I was really happy they gave her that because they have to give her something. You can't
Something,
just take
right?
everything from her. And I'm just happy that, and I hope she doesn't lose it after this movie, that she has a will to live and like actually live a life, you know?
I was even because the movie was so bleak and I kept thinking of the bleakest. I was like, is the couple that picked her up gonna be like Laura's
Texas
partners or
Chainsaw
some
Massacre.
like I was like, they're gonna be like, great thing we got you because we just our daughter just died and we're gonna put you in her body. Like
Lord Jesus, man. Ugh.
and
And
the
then
child
mm,
Connor surviving, I'm like,
I know,
I
no, see, shut up. Be quiet and don't even say it because I was happy he survived too. I need these children to survive.
I don't he's got wood in his belly. I don't know,
There's a lot of
like
shit happening with that one. That's not a very smooth move, you
like
know.
I don't know how that child recovers.
That one is the craziest out of them, you know.
I assumed he was dead. Like I assumed this was like a zombie body. This was
Mhm.
not like a
Did
person
you
who lived.
assume that by the time we saw him like coming out, like when the first time he passed that sort of like salt line or
Yes,
whatever that line
yes.
is, you still thought he was
That
dead? So what
that
did you
was
think
when I
that was?
what do you I thought it was like because we saw her watching the thing, I thought it was like, oh, that's the daughter's demon inside.
Mm.
That's like the daughter comes through to be like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like I thought the daughter was
Ah,
like trapped inside. And then I thought that even more when they had the weird like pregnancy looking belly thing.
yeah.
But I guess
Were
that was
you
just because he
clear
was eating
on the
her.
ritual?
No.
Okay, so we'll go through the ritual real quick. The somebody dies and you're sad about that person dying. So you obtain this host for a demon to get into, and the demon is going to get into this host. So this demon got into Connor, right? And you need to hold on to that body of the person that you want to bring back, right? And then you need to obtain also the second host, who is going to be the resurrected version of your loved one. So then I guess you like sort of marinate this demon, get it like really hungry for something. I was unclear about that. Um,
Yeah.
but I think the parts that are unclear, I think, are very intentional, so that you don't
Yeah.
exactly know
And it
the
doesn't
entire
matter.
ritual.
Yeah.
Yes, but the demon gets hungry enough that when it is time, you feed your loved one's dead body to the demon. It ingests it. It doesn't really, I guess, it doesn't really matter how much of it,
I guess. Yeah.
but it just has to like ingest that dead body or that soul maybe, and then that demon, or then you need to kill your second host in the same way that your loved one died. Does that make sense? You just
Yes.
need to
Yes.
kill
Because
them
that's
the
why she
same way.
wanted to drown
Yes,
her. Yeah.
yes, yes. And then the demon will, I guess, throw up the loved one into the new dead body, and then
Okay.
that person will come
I
back.
like got the second half of
Mm,
the ritual. It's the first half that I was a little confused about because
yeah.
she says an angel visited me. I can bring my daughter back. And I was like, wait, so did she just stumble upon a demon and was like, oh shit? Kevin said on the On the drive back, Kevin was like, "Did she find that VHS tape at a thrift store?" And that's what happened. Like,
I think that's also the question, right? It's like I think they do a good job with the questions that don't really need to be answered and that you can fill in with your own head. That's what they give. So because I've heard them talk a little bit about this, and a lot of this is just like very
oh yeah,
intentionally left out. Yeah. And I sort of like assume I've seen a couple different theories because how I love a movie is when I'm looking up the theories. I've seen that maybe she, in her grief, was searching out different things.
yeah,
Um,
I can see that.
Searching out different things, or maybe somebody approached her and contacted her and had this, it's this cult that approached her, or that she was using her position in this is a little bit more far-fetched, that she was using her position in as a social worker to already be part of that cult. And then when it happened to her, she was already connected to those people, so she could do it, right? And that maybe
That's
she had been
so.
procuring children for other rituals or things like that.
That's what my friend Jude thought. He was like, was she just like part of like which devil worshipping cult, and that's like
Yeah.
why she knew? But I think the reason I don't think that one is true, the reason I would say the first one more likely is true, is because she kept watching the tape to figure out
Yes.
to make sure she knew what to do. And I was like, but if she was part of this, she
I
wouldn't need to
think
like.
I am more in line with you. I think that she somehow was contacted, or I think it's more likely that she did some dark web search or some shit like that and found things like that way. It seems like
Yeah,
these filmmakers were on the dark web to kind of research this movie. And
fair.
I wouldn't doubt it. I think sort of probably. These videotapes are very dark webby. So I think she was more
Yeah.
like that. She was searching out some sort of thing. I'll fill you in with something. When my dog died, I put a lot of emotional weight on my animals, and so when my first dog died, Bronson, I did like look up how to bring him back. I was like, well, if there's a way, maybe I'll try to do that. Never really found
Jesus
anything. Yeah,
Christ.
didn't really found. I was trying to like figure out a reincarnation thing. And could never find anything. But so
If y'all next time I go to Zach's house and I don't come back here and I'm barking, well, we know what happened.
yes, you will have been him. Um, but that's what I sort of think that she did, and I think that she just had a very specific like way to obtain children or to like
But so do
put
you
her
think
plan together.
the demon was coincidence, or like the demon was also like she summoned the
I think
demon,
that
it
she
went in
had
the
to summon
child?
the demon. I think that's a
Okay.
part of the ritual that was probably not disclosed, but that she was, because she had to have been given very simple instructions, right? And this
Right.
demon had to have been part of that. Um, so she had to have been. I mean, there's just like a whole, I guess, a whole 30 minutes of her actually possessing Connor
Because
Bird with
it all
this
also
demon.
was recent, right? Because
Hmm.
the kid had only they say he's only been missing for like 13
Yeah,
days or something. So it's like,
it's all happening in very recent time. Yeah.
yeah. Because at
Um.
first, before they said it, how long the kid had been missing, I was like, oh, this lady's been planning this for
Mhm.
months and months. But then they're like 13 days. I was like, oh, so I guess not.
Yeah.
Um, but the body did look pretty decomposed, even though she was keeping it in a freezer.
I guess I'm not like super familiar with the decomposition rate of
Yeah,
bodies, right? Because maybe she had the body outside of the freezer for a little bit, but it seems like
right.
she would have put the body in the freezer pretty quickly. And she also, I don't think she just drowned. Is that where you sort of head is too? I think she maybe like lashed out and hit her daughter,
That's
and her
what
daughter
I was
drowned.
when we like there's like that longer scene where we see the daughter before she drowned. That's what I thought too,
Hmm.
because she's bloody. The
Yeah,
back of her head is like
which
bleeding.
could have been diving into a pool and
Right.
hitting it
Could
at the
have
bottom.
you
But
fall your head,
I
yeah.
think the scene where we see that she is capable of really whacking a kid kind of alludes to that a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I was like watching and I was like, wait, is she bleeding because her mom hit
Yeah.
her? Like, because that would make sense. Like a woman who is like, and her guilt of like, oh, I'm the
Yeah,
one
because
that hit
losing a
her.
child is already difficult, but like
Right.
the added guilt of like I did this, you
Yeah.
know, could drive you to try to possess another child with your daughter.
And I mean, she did have violent tendencies. It's not
She
like we
did.
didn't see them.
She was
So
capable of this. See, she's a really interesting character. So we'll go into like so Connor Bird was really sad because we really didn't even get his character at all. Like he never came out. We never saw him. We saw the picture of him with the long red hair, and then we saw his like flashes, whatever little
yeah, yeah.
flashes we got from him. But we saw this body that was being taken over and abused, everything happening without his consent. It was being abused. That fucking knife scene was probably one of the worst shit I've ever seen in a fucking horror movie. It was
I closed my eyes.
I
I like
couldn't look. I
genuinely closed
couldn't
my
look,
eyes.
but I could hear it, just like you said at the
The
beginning.
crunching is awful.
Alistair was in the bathroom for that part, and thank God he was, because when he saw the damn biting of the cabinet, he couldn't fucking handle it. He had a terrible time during this movie. He did not want to be here during this movie.
Poor Alistair.
He did not like it. But you just feel so badly for this kid who is really taken over. And then when he does survive at the end, you're like, your mouth is fucked up. You have all of this shit inside of your belly. You like your body has just been so badly beaten that
I don't know how you come back. I just don't
I
know how
don't
you
know how you
rebound
come
from
back
that,
from this.
right?
Yes. And what were you conscious during? You know?
Right,
Do you
right.
remember eating a cattail or chickens or do you, a
Do you remember
countertop?
eating the counter? Yeah, say the countertop. I feel like
Anything?
that wood's got to be bad for your belly, right?
Yeah, it's just terrible. It's horrible. And then, so he's left with that. Andy, I mean, Andy's dead, so it doesn't matter, I guess. But
I do wish because I hate a like suffering death. I'm like,
mm,
just run him over with the car, like the old lady. Like, don't make him survive getting hit by the car. Where like we're only seeing him from here up because the other half of his
yeah,
body is probably broken. And like, then ugh. Wait, hilariously, I need to tell you, I just got a text because I have my text connected to my computer.
yeah.
I just got a text from Jude, my boss, who I saw it with, saying, still thinking about that feral child eating the countertop.
All about the countertop. Um, it just I don't even know. Yeah, so what's his name? Andy. I felt
Andy.
like real bad for Andy just because of I mean, he's the one that that's put forth and you're supposed to feel bad. He's the one that's
Yeah,
most filled in, right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
know about his childhood trauma with his dad, that he also feels very guilty about lashing out at Piper when he was younger, but it seems like he hadn't done that since, and he developed a real protectiveness over Piper
And they
and a
were
real
kids.
yeah, and
So I'm like a little
he
bit more like, it was,
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like that's the thing is like when somebody is that old, because they said he's 8, he would be mimicking what is happening
yeah,
to himself,
yeah.
right? And any sort of jealousy he has, he doesn't know how to regulate that.
Right,
That's not something he
right.
knows how to. So the fact that he didn't do it beyond that was kind of a miracle anyway, and speaks
And he
to
did
a sort of
express
self.
regret. Yeah,
Yeah, it speaks to a self control that he had that was far mature, far older than his years.
yeah.
And he just seems older. Like every time I'm reminded that he's not 18 yet, or whatever the legal age in
Oh, right,
Australia is. It
yeah.
has to have been 18, right? That I'm like surprised by that. I'm like he seems older than that, you know. And it's such a sad life that he's lived. But they have this plan that he's gonna age out of the foster care system in a couple months, and that he's gonna file for guardianship of Piper. Um, and immediately, as soon as he gets into this house, because I guess she only accepts him because she knows that Piper is like not going to come
Not gonna
willingly
go.
if he
Yeah.
does not come. So she, being a social worker, knows all of the textbook sort of things to make him look like he is not a fit guardian or he's this troubled foster kid, right?
Yeah,
Pouring the
yeah.
pee on him, making it look like he pees himself all the time, just all of these like very textbook things. It's just sad. I hate it. And it's like what you were talking about with the gaslighting. It's just frustrating to all hell that you see her doing this. And I mean, who are they going to believe? The foster kid who
Right.
hit his sister when he was 8 years old, or the woman who's been taking care of foster kids and other
And for
kids
like
as a
20 years,
social
I think they
worker and a
said.
social,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I think it's like a really great commentary on just the whole foster system anyway, and the horrors that can come out of that.
Yeah, and the thing about the kids, they looked like teenagers, so it made me
Mhm.
feel like they weren't like sexy 25-year-olds, right? Like it was like these are
Yeah,
like they looked like younger teenagers. I mean, he looked like someone who's about to turn 18. She
yeah.
looked like a little bit younger. Like they looked the ages they were playing.
And you saw
And I
the
feel
acne
like
on them, and
yeah, and like I feel like that always makes me feel worse because it's like I can tell this isn't an actual adult, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, this is like a kid in trouble, like fuck. So it made me feel worse when they were in danger because I'm like, this kid, we know he's not even legal age yet. She's younger, like
yeah.
they've had a bad life, like fuck.
I think the actor who plays Andy is actually 17 still too. So
Oh, is
like
he?
he's young. That's what they're doing nowadays. They're casting actual youngins to play youngins,
Yeah.
right? Um, The new Slayer and Buffy the Vampire Slayer is like 15 years old right now.
Well, because
Like,
I showed you her in Skeleton Crew, you're like, "What was she 12?" I thought about it, and I was like, "She probably was 12
she
when she
was
filmed
probably
Skeleton Crew."
12. She's 15 now. That's going to be insane. By the time the show comes out, she'll probably be like 16 years old. Absolutely wild. Where are my 30-year
Yeah.
olds? Where are my 30-year olds playing 12-year olds? I don't know. And then so I find the character of Laura to be so deeply fascinating. Just they layered upon layered upon layered upon layered this character, right? Like, what are you just were you just angry with her throughout the entire thing? Did you feel
Yeah.
any empathy
No,
towards her? Did you feel any
no.
like what was there?
I wanted that motherfucker dead. I wanted to see her head get chopped off and her get squished into pieces. Like,
Yeah,
she did the thing where it's like a visceral hate of this character,
yeah,
which like is a credit to the actor and the writing. Like, there's like Michael Myers and Ghostface, where it's like, oh, I don't want Laurie or Sydney to die, but like this is a different type of like realistic evil.
yeah,
Um, and I just finished. I know you're not a Star Wars gal, but I just finished Andor because I watched Skeleton Crew since it had the new Slayer in it, and then I was like, oh, let me watch Andor. Everyone talks about it. And the thing I kept saying about Andor was it did a really, and I know this sounds stupid talking about a space opera universe,
hmm,
but it did a good job of making the Empire realistically scary, not like Darth Vader villain. Like Darth Vader isn't in it. It's just like the Empire and their army, and they're like corrupt and doing terrible things. And like it was a realistic terror where I hated them more than I ever hated Darth Vader. Because Darth Vader's like a sci-fi villain,
yeah,
sure. And I hated these people more because they were all just regular people working for the Empire, doing the worst shit to like oppress people and make sure poor people died. And that's how I felt with her. Like she was a realistic evil where it's like, this could be someone who exists. Like you said, she's using what she
yeah.
knew from her 20 years experience as a social worker and like using it for really evil shit and like is being terrible to these children and no one's gonna believe them. And like even Wendy, like by the time she believes them, she's getting hit by a car, right?
Yeah.
Like
She made it
although
farther than I thought she was going to
she
make it
did.
because
She
I
did.
thought like as soon as she discovered it, there was a lot of objects on that little ledge, and I was like, she's gonna get whacked with something. She almost fucking made it. And I was like, bitch, are we getting out? Are we getting? Is Wendy getting
I don't
out?
know if you caught it when the old lady's yelling to leave to Andy. She's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And I like that it's like
Yes.
this little lady yelling that.
Insane. I was like real excited for them for a second because I just had that little glimmer of hope. Obviously, in
We
my
were
mind, she's
foolish.
alive still. She's alive still. Okay, she's got a lot of broken bones, but she is still kicking.
Silly. I felt, and I also that's another thing where it's like I feel worse because she seemed just like a regular old lady, and it's like Jesus, she just got
She
smushed
was,
by a
and what
car,
would she be thinking, right? Like she has to use her logical brain, and it's
right?
like the person who has a troubled history, and the social worker that I've known for 20 years, like it does give you that sort of like distrust of like the newer person, right? So like why wouldn't I trust Laura? But I'm going to take you seriously and we are going to go check this out. However, where's the fucking policeman?
I was like, does she have a gun? Like what?
Anything, just a little pew pew, a little Laurie Strode, right?
Even
Like
like
where are we?
switchblade on her keys, maybe.
Something, because you went in unfucking
And
protected.
I did kind of like that Laura like zoomed through cleaning up the house and she
Oh,
like almost made it. But then
almost.
she's like, "What do you mean I'm bleeding? It's fine," as blood's like gushing down.
Fucking terrible. It's like, lady, you didn't see the bite mark in the countertop? It's there.
Right? Those chew marks are not a dog.
That's not
Like,
my cat.
yeah.
Those aren't the chickens, okay? Laura's just like a super interesting character to me because like we have a lot of horror movies that just put forth our evil characters as evil
Right.
characters, and this is a very nuanced evil character. And an evil people often have root causes. They have root
Right.
causes like some people just have evilness in them that it's just there's no explanation for it. And then there are some people who have an evilness in them that is triggered by a thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it seems like Laura is the type of person not only had an evilness in her, but probably had things going back, like a little evil streak going back even before this daughter. Like if we're gonna say that she probably hit her daughter, she probably hit her daughter before that. She probably was the kid who like lashed out in
Yeah.
school, you know? Like she probably was Andy if he hadn't stopped at 8 years old and had continued on, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so whatever her causes were for that, sure, but she was an evil person that was taken over by all of this guilt, and I thought that was really interesting. Instead of just being like she's going to drown this this girl Piper and gonna do it, she was really struggling with herself, right? And like she said earlier in the movie that she just wanted to hear her daughter say "mommy" one last time, and when she hears it,
Yeah.
it kind of stops her, right?
Yeah.
And I think had she had a moment to like really think and process, I think she would have gone through with it still. Like I think if
Yeah.
Piper
Yeah.
hadn't run out of the pool, she probably would have grabbed Piper and put her back under. I think she was committed
Yeah.
to doing it, but I think that she
Just had
had
caught her off guard.
little
Yeah.
things, yeah, that like did give her pause because she did feel bad about what she was doing.
Yeah. And
But that doesn't
I,
take away that from the fact that she was doing an evil thing and knew that she was doing an evil thing and was willing to do an evil thing.
yeah, I actually appreciated that the movie didn't make us feel bad for her. Didn't seem to, it just was
No.
like, this is a
Mm-mm.
terrible thing that happened to her.
Hmm.
She's also terrible.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I say this a lot, but like two things can be true, right? I say that to
Yeah.
my students all the time, and I'm like, two things can be true. Someone can be a bad person, but also a bad thing could have happened to them. Like,
Yes.
it doesn't make someone good because a bad thing happened to them. And I feel like she was a really good example of that
Hmm.
because nowhere in this movie did I ever feel bad for this
And they were
woman.
not trying. They were not
No.
trying. They were just showing that kind of evil person, right? Because
Yes.
there are just
Mhm.
different shades of evil people, and this was the shade that we got in this movie. Just simple as
Yeah.
that. It wasn't a, oh, well, this is the cause that brings somebody to do this. No. No. She just decided to do it, right? But
Right.
I think it also spoke to a type of like a type of grief that goes to lengths, and that hers went to like a length like this. Like in her grief, she would seek out some sort of like cult or way to bring her daughter
Or what?
back,
Yeah.
or
Like you said,
something,
maybe Googling on the dark web or shit like
Hmm.
that. Like,
And
yeah, no, and
yeah.
and like I liked the grief of it all. I mean, like the grief, I'm not gonna lie, was a little,
Hmm.
we're coming up on the anniversary, and I'm like, "Ooh, dead parent shit in a horror movie where everyone's awful.
At
God.
least it's dead kids in this one.
But it opens with a dead
It
parent.
does.
Um, I liked how like brutal the imagery was when it's like, yeah, dad's naked and dead. Like that like
Oh yeah,
felt more like, oh,
like I didn't want to see his penis sitting right there.
no,
I
no.
felt like I should not have seen anything in this room
Yes,
at this
it felt like
moment,
an
right?
invasion. Yeah.
It was horrifying. Like that's the thing about this movie is like it was so full of horrifying shit that everywhere you looked felt just wrong. You know what it felt like? It
Mm,
felt like a Japanese horror film to me. Like it was
mm.
very like it just had that Japanese coding, like where everything is just very glum. And there's a movie called The Wailing that's like, oh, it just feels like this. When you watch it, the atmosphere just feels like this. It's like always gloomy, always raining. I think the setting of this house in this movie was brilliant because it's this house that is like gorgeous with architecture,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
should be gorgeously put together. And you would expect, like in any other movie, it'd be fine things put up and stuff like that. But here it's like showing a state of mental decay.
Yeah.
Like the sheets feel like they're probably damp.
Yes.
The house feels like it probably has really thick air,
Even
you
say
know.
probably smells musty. Yeah.
Smells musty. There's things everywhere, which I don't comment on because
I mean,
I've
what's on
also
my
got things
desk? Yeah.
everywhere. But like it's just like give it another 10 years and it's covered in dust and
Yeah.
probably has cracks in the walls and the ceiling, and there's
Probably
probably leaks
bugs.
everywhere that she hasn't tended to. And it's like such a brilliant setting, you know.
Yeah.
It's this
No,
fine
I think
place that is just decaying.
that's a really good point though. Like, because I thought that too when we get the pan out shot to see that the circle's all around the house.
Hmm.
And it's like, this is a gorgeous nature. This is a gorgeous house. The
Hmm.
scenery is, but it's like, doesn't feel gorgeous. It feels drab and it feels like, ugh. And it almost feels like I felt the isolation when we zoom out
Yes.
because there weren't any other houses. Like, and that was what I mostly focus on was the isolation and that weird fucking circle. I was like, oh shit. But like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. The house is actually beautiful. Like,
And when everybody's in it, when you get all of these characters in it, when Andy and Piper step into this house, it's they're also trapped in this grief with her now. Like
uh,
not only they're adding their own grief, which that just thickens the air that much more, right? And it's just these people like stuck in this bubble of trauma, grief, sadness, and all of these terrible feelings. And like, who's going to fucking thrive here? Like nobody, you know. It's
yeah, no
it's
one.
it's a very unhealthy environment. And I mean, a lot of times that's what happens in the foster care system is these kids are put in really unhealthy and unfavorable environments and kind of have to just tough it out, you know?
And right there, like the thing was, she was really good at what she was doing. That's why I feel like we were saying, like she probably hit that kid. Like that's
Yeah.
because she was so good at all of this. Like at the fucking, I will say one of the knife scene was still disgusting, right? That's
Hmm.
still I had to close my eyes. But one of the more upsetting non-gory scenes was at the dad's funeral when she's like, kiss him. He has to kiss
Yeah.
him. Kisses him on the lips. And I'm like,
Fucking
oh my
awful, awful,
God.
awful, awful.
Like,
Because I think that there's a world in which I like because I think I really like her, the actress. And there's a
mm,
world in which like this works for me as showing up, you know, as the kooky sort of like
yeah, yeah.
off kilter aunt who like is just trying to help these kids out, right? And I just kept wanting that. I kept just like being like, please just give us that. Like you're encouraging him to look at. And I do think that's very important. I think it's important to like, but it also like falls on him whether he's going to want to do that or not. And if he doesn't want to do it, you can't force him.
But
But I
on
think
the lips.
it is very, well, don't kiss him. But it is like important to see like a loved one a last time because it does like help with that finality of it and stuff like that. But her as like a social worker in a perfect world would be explaining that to him, like, hey, this is gonna help you down the line. This is why. And then she's like, kiss him, and then she kisses him, and she's just like, it's like desecrating this body, basically, right? And then I loved, and probably shouldn't because it's you know, don't drink with minors. But when she's like, he's like, you know, being a little shitty, and he's like, she's like, what do you like to do for fun? He says, you know, get wasted, and she's like, okay, let's get wasted. I was like, oh fuck, like I kind of like this. Like this seems kooky, and it seems like, but then like you know, in a good movie, she would be like, you know, when it's just her and him, she's like, don't ever ask to do this again. This was a one-time thing. This is
Right,
like, you
yeah, yeah.
know, we're doing this for this, and you know,
Dad's dead, so we can
enjoy
do
the
it once.
moment.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. We're going back to normal life tomorrow. But like she just ruins it by, you know, it was all a ploy to sort of get him alone, get him drunk, get him sort of talking, get him opening up because she knows too much about the psyche of children and ways
Yeah.
to sort of like gain their trust. And, you know, being cool and would gain the 17-year-old's trust. And she does, and she gets things out of him that she is able to use later. And just fucking makes me so angry. Makes me so angry. You could have been so cool, lady.
Well, and I will say the drinking was when I was like, "Ooh, Piper's gonna die. Oh God,
Oh
Piper's gonna
yeah,
like
I
have
did
a
think about
drunk
it.
accident."
Hmm.
I was like really worried where Piper was every time we
Yeah,
were like in the drunk space. I was like, "Where is she? Is she okay? Like, did she fall in the fucking pool? Did she break her head?"
yeah,
Um, and like, but the movie was good with that, with giving us that tension, right? Because nothing bad, technically, bad happens. It's
yeah.
just we know what she's doing. Um, as he even thanks her. He thanks her for the day, and like,
Exactly. Like this could have been a relationship that really blossomed, and that later on, when he does turn 18, she helps him be an adult and get a job, and like helps him get Piper back and stuff like in my perfect sort of like moody drama movie. That's what would be happening, right? We would be a happy family by the end of this.
if this
But
were
this is
Mona
not
Lisa
that.
Smile,
This
they
is
would have had
not
a great
that.
time.
She's just a terrible fucking person. It makes me so angry and my God.
And I mean, I like the thing I do like is, I like a grief. I like the two the like different sides, right? Like
Yeah.
these kids are just like they're trying to make it. They're like they're kids, they're not and but this woman is like has lost her full fucking mind from her grief
Hmm.
and is doing like evil shit with like kidnapping children and putting demons in their bodies. Like
Yes.
she's like and I just for me I appreciated that all parties involved were grieving. So there wasn't like, oh, look, only the grieving person's crazy. It's like everyone here is grieving.
Yeah, but and there's a sort of grief that is with that's sitting with Andy and Piper that they are keeping between them, and it's
Yeah.
only between them, and it is in a little tiny ball that they're holding together, and it's so sickening to see her like just trying to like wrestle that from their hands and trying to like crack it open herself so that she can like make it pour out because right she needs these people as vulnerable as possible,
Yeah.
right? Like she needs all parts again, it's just it is kind of brilliant making her a social worker. I don't, you know, I'm sure people will say, oh, don't make it a commentary on like all social people worker people being like this because social workers do like the Lord's work. I do think like they are like very, very good people, the majority of
Yeah.
them, but there are people like this
Right.
who will take advantage of the things that they learned, and they're just manipulative people down inside. And I think that's who she is. If she hadn't been a social worker, she was a manipulative person, and she probably learned that very early on.
Right,
And
because we
so,
saw that Wendy, who
mhm,
thought she was good, was like surprised, right? Like she wasn't like, oh
yeah.
yeah, sure. Like once she was like, oh, you're nuts, let's get the fuck out of here, then
Mhm.
gets hit with her car. Like she had tricked this woman who she knew for 20 years at least.
Did she know that her daughter was dead?
Okay, so
I was confused about that.
because she does say, I can bring Kathy back to Wendy. And Wendy's like, that's crazy. That, like, when she starts to lose, when she sees the blood, she's just like, I found a way to bring her back, blah, blah, blah. And that's what she's rambling. And that's why Wendy's like, oh, this bitch is
Mm.
nuts. So, but I was curious because I was like, wait, if like her former coworkers know her daughter died, how'd she get that body in the freezer?
Yeah, why is nobody questioning whether like she has this body still, or like wasn't the body supposed to be checked and put into the ground, or like cremated or something like that? I also don't know Australian laws. Maybe you can just bury your dead however you want to.
Well, also, I mean, great. Like theoretically, we could say like the body was buried and she dug it up, or she pretended it was cremated, but it wasn't.
What was it wearing? It was wearing a little dress, right?
Yeah, it
Maybe
had
she
like a
did. Maybe
dress.
she did dig it up. Ah, see,
Because I don't.
questions. We don't know.
Now I'm trying to think, was that the dress she died in? Because if it was, that, but I don't know. I don't remember. I know she was wearing a dress, but I don't know. Also, the corpse looked a little big.
It looked a little baby dollish. It's like it's a little kooky.
Like when she's in the
I
pool with
think
it, I was like, it looks bigger
that
than
was the
her.
part that didn't like distress me as much. I think because we'd seen everything else as well, like a pregnant little boy pregnant with the body of a dead little girl. I don't think you can really beat that.
And his
Um,
countertop.
I don't think you can really beat that. So when she brings this dead little girl's
I'm like,
body out,
sure.
I'm desensitized. I don't see anything wrong. I've seen
I
worse.
I genuinely I'm telling you that's why I hit a point in movies like this where I
Yeah.
can't get any more stressed and I'm like, all right, sure.
I also
Yeah.
think it's like very for me specifically, or for me personally, I am very desensitized to horror anyway. So like a lot of effects really kind of go over my head, and it really takes like something very specific to play
Like
into it. And I have like a mouth thing, so like anything involving my mouth, I don't like. I find that really horrifying, especially teeth. Um, so
mouth
those
stuff,
fingernails, whenever anybody like scrapes their fingernails and the fingernails come off, that's another one of my things.
mouth, eye, finger, and feet
Eyes
are
don't do
like,
anything for me. And feet won't do
oof.
anything for me. It's like
Those are
fingernails,
my spots.
teeth, maybe like a rectum. Because I've seen, I remember watching that Chucky show when he was like stabbing people in the theater,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
in the butt. Yeah, that was pretty horrifying.
But I feel like that's more like, ooh, that would hurt. It's not like me being like, oh, it's like, oof,
There's a
I
lot. And
clench
when
a
you saw
little.
this little boy's like teeth that were already like after the knife, that were already like little jagged pieces, and he's chewing fucking
And
everything.
I don't think I closed my eyes, but I looked down. I was like, all right, I'm gonna look
Terrible.
down because
Terrible.
you could still hear the teeth flying out, like they were
Yeah.
like ding ding, like hitting the ground, and I was like, ah, I hate the effects.
I just like the pain that little boy must have been in when he came to his body. Or does he feel, is he too in shock? Hopefully he's too in shock to feel anything, right?
I was about
Because
to say when I got my like really bad burn up here, it's like from
same
here
thing.
to here. Right. Yeah, it's this arm, I think. I always forget which arm it is. You can tell when I get tan because I don't know
Mhm.
why that skin doesn't tan. It stays like very pale. Um, I went into shock because I was like, this doesn't hurt. And it didn't start hurting till the drive.
Yeah.
My mom picked me up, and it didn't start hurting till in the drive over. I just started screaming. But like I remember the nurse getting me and being like, "Oh, my shirt's melted to my arm," and like
Oh,
pulling my
see,
shirt
oof,
off, and like it didn't.
it's terrible.
It just felt like wet slop, like because everything was like so awfully burned, that I just kind of like peeled. And they actually said it was good that I did that. Otherwise, I would have needed a skin graft because it was melting to my hand at the time. I
Yeah.
only pulled off a little skin. But like I remember just being like, "Oh, the cool air feels good on this," and like that was
Maybe
the
that's
most
what
I
he
thought.
felt. Maybe he just
Yeah,
was like, the cool air feels nice.
it feels nice through
It's a
my
nice
jagged
night.
teeth.
It's a nice
Yeah,
night tonight, right?
beautiful
Because I
day.
just keep thinking about like the split in his gum and how painful
Oh,
that must be, right? Because she didn't even take him to the doctor. She couldn't take him to the doctor. She
I thought so. Like I was wrong at nearly every turn. I was like, oh, now she's gonna say, "Look, he has to go to jail because he tried to kill the son," and that's how she's gonna get Piper alone. But
I
then it
was
was just like,
genuinely surprised about the that this was a missing little boy. I was genuinely surprised about that when we saw that because I knew that something was off, but my mind was just in like, well, this is a foster kid that they know she
Yes,
has.
another, yeah,
She
yeah.
knows this. Um,
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
mm, so
There was a lot of, and like, yeah,
do you think she would have still gone through with trying to put her daughter into Piper if had been showing signs of like, I don't know, like the moments like where she's like, you can call me mom if you want, and Piper's like, yeah, I'll call you mom. Like I feel a connection to you, or started calling her mom or things like that.
I was wondering that during that scene when she gives her the sweater
Mhm.
before she says "call me mom," um, and Piper's like fine with wearing the sweater, she's fine with her putting her hair in pigtails, and she's comparing. I was like, again, incorrect, but I was like, oh, is she gonna be like, wait, I do like this girl as my new daughter because she
Mhm.
fits so well, and then is that gonna cause a fight with her and Demon Child because of it?
I know. How do we get rid of Demon Child at this point? I
Right?
guess, I
You
guess
got the
the
demon
answer
there.
was just to put him outside of the little line, I guess, the circle. So maybe that.
God.
Oh, gosh.
I also just like wouldn't have been able to sleep with that child in the house.
Oh
Like
no, that really creeped me out. That whole like the whole kid, like I was so on edge knowing that the kid was just in the house with them.
there.
Because
Yeah.
I kept thinking that he was gonna wake up and the kid would be like in the corner doing something or some I don't know. And for the most part, the kid was just in a trance state for
Yeah, yeah.
the majority of the movie.
But
And I
right?
guess the demon kind of got impatient, was ready to eat this fucking soul. But it was scary. It was scary because it's just you. Also, you're Andy and you want to protect Piper and you've got this other kid in there. Like how do you do that? Because you just got called out and made to feel bad, by the way, for calling this kid a freak or weird when maybe not the most PC way to do it, but that kid was being fucking weird.
I I really was like my comeback would be, well, he didn't talk and he just looks like he's gonna eat us. So yeah, I'm gonna say
And
that's
was like
weird. Like,
squeezing a cat standing in the middle of the pool and the cat was like
like
scratching him to get away, right? Like you don't know what kind of like
not great.
mental state that kid could be in. And I get the calling him a freak is not the nicest,
But I think he just said weirdo. I think he just said, nah, he's a fucking
but the thing
weirdo.
is, Laura didn't give a fuck that he said that. Laura gave just using that to make him feel bad and kind of bend him over a little bit, right? Bend Andy over a
Mhm.
little bit. And because I was also like when she was like so involved in his phone and trying to delete things and like would go in at night and try to delete things, I was like, oh, well, she just doesn't want, she's just a little controlling, right? Couldn't put together that she wouldn't want images of this child out there on anybody's phone because she fucking kidnapped him. It was just so, it was woven together really, really well.
Yes, yeah, it really was. And like, ugh, I yeah.
Mm.
The thing the movie also did really well is what it's like a good it is like 30 minutes before it starts getting like insane.
I don't know. It was insane pretty early on for me.
I guess like but the tension was just always there. Like I was just
Mm.
always waiting for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
Um, so even when, like we said, it's like, oh, well, they got drunk and they had fun, and you're right. There's a world in which it's like, oh, I'm a kooky aunt, and this only is once, but like that is not what happened. So it like just stressed me out, and I was like, ugh, she just tried to make you kiss your dead dad on the lips. Like what the fuck?
And shows up to the funeral looking the way she looked. Like
And like a
insane.
bright purple sweater,
That was the
like
only red flag you needed. That was it. A social worker doing this? Really?
right, like absolutely a social worker would know better.
Yeah, I just think that this is like a really great example of horror that needs to be really be looked at when considering award season. Like it is the sort of plot is a little bit been done. Like, I mean, even with Hereditary, that had been done. A possession
Right,
sort of
right.
plot had been done. A grief storyline. Like these things have been done, but it's always with performances that really elevate a thing like this. And her performance as Laura, I think, is like fucking Oscar worthy. Like,
Yeah.
I truly think a performance like that is going to be overlooked, but it's like. I don't know, kind of career defining in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like the things that she has to tap into and convey and you don't see that a whole lot, but then you'll get nominated for I'm gonna get a lot of hate with this. And I really liked Silver Linings Playbook, but Jennifer Lawrence in Silver Linings Playbook, her performance is gonna be like this performance. Tell me why. I would like to, Tony
I
Collette
thought,
in Hereditary. I don't understand.
isn't it the other one that Jennifer Lawrence kind of didn't deserve the award for?
I don't know. How many does she have? Does she have two?
She was, I think, I can't remember if she won or what. There's
I
like
know she
the one
won
where
for Silver Linings
she's doing a
Playbook.
wacky accent the whole time, but she's only in like 10 minutes of the movie, and she was either nominated or won. I want to say it's like American Hustler, New York Hustler, or something like
Oh,
that.
American Hustle. I know she was nominated for that one, but I don't know if she won for that one. Let
And
me
she's
see.
like barely in that movie, and her accent is horrendous in the movie.
Okay, so she won the Academy Award for Silver Linings Playbook, which is again very good, very good. Like I do think Jennifer Lawrence is like a fantastic actress. I think she's like
Yeah, I do
phenomenal.
too. Yeah.
She's got like a really great natural style to her. Um, did she win again? I don't see that she won again, so that might have been her only win. But I
Okay.
could also have seen her to win again. So I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway,
That'll take further. Somebody else let us know that.
yeah.
Um, because Jennifer Lawrence also, like, I really don't want this to be like I'm shitting on Jennifer Lawrence because I'm a huge Jennifer Lawrence fan. And Jennifer Lawrence was in a few other movies that I think she should have had a fucking Oscar for instead, like Winter's Bone and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's weird, like the things that the Academy will like look at as definition of sort of like Oscar success, but won't look at um, Sally Hawkins. She's got like a real
Yes.
basic name. Sally Hawkins as Laura in this, playing a social worker who is take the horror out of it. Sally Hawkins. What do we say about her? Sally Hawkins plays Laura, a social worker who uses her 20 years of experience to gaslight children. Oscar winner role right there to me is what that sounds like.
Uses it to gaslight children. Jesus
Exactly.
Christ.
And kidnap.
And kidnap and possess and maybe murder. Yeah, no, I think she's fantastic in this. I think everyone's so good.
Yeah.
It's very weird, again, with the Hereditary comparisons, complimentary though.
Hmm.
Like the thing about Hereditary, even though these were famous actors, right? Who's the dad? Is it Alfred Molina? No. Yeah. No. Whoever, whatever. Both of them are famous, right?
I only know
Her and
women.
him. Um, and like, but the movie, these felt like real people. Like it did a really good job of like, there's a heightened plot happening, but like everything felt real and not
Yes.
as like the people felt not as polished. Like the kids felt like kids. Wendy felt like a random
So
older
like
lady social
messy looking,
worker.
right? Like
Yeah.
with Hereditary, I do agree. It's a very polished movie, and like with Tony Collette in Hereditary, they put her in a robe to sort of like show like a mental decline, but like her hair still looks fabulous. Like Tony Collette looks fabulous in that movie, right? Um, like this woman looks like she is falling apart, like her hair's really
Yes.
frazzled and
I
frizzy
felt like her hair kept
and
getting bigger as she
it
was getting
did.
crazier.
It did. And her nail polish was chipping. And there was just like little subtle things throughout the entire thing that it felt like I think the overall vibe of this one felt um like it was decaying like a dead body. Whereas like Hereditary felt like we were watching the dollhouse, these dolls in a dollhouse, you
Yeah.
know, which I think
But
was
right,
the
like
intention.
yes, and I think with this, I mean, Sally Hawkins is famous. She was in an Oscar-nominated film or Oscar-winning film.
Which one? Oh, yes.
Which is not gosh, I've water. Aside from her, everyone else just looked real, and I think it's because of the styling. Because
Yeah.
like even like I said, even the old lady social worker, like that felt like that's just the lady you encounter at a desk at the DMV or some shit. Like even with her bright green jacket, like
Yeah.
I don't know, they all felt no one was like super polished looking. I don't know, and that for me like worked where it felt real.
Hmm. I think, and all of their little things that they had. So, like that, he had a little bit of acne and had the braces, and the braces
Hmm.
being used later for her to identify him when she's like feeling his face. Um, and then Piper having this just very like flat hair, normal fucking like preteen. I guess she's a teenager. She's like what, 13, 14?
13,
Like,
14. Yeah, yeah.
sort of like, the purple jacket and things like that. And then, I think with Connor, there's a true crime story about a little boy in a box, and I forget what his name because he was like recently identified, but like this happened a long, long time ago that somebody was just driving on the side of the road and saw this box off the road and stopped and like went over to it and found this little dead boy in a box.
Ooh.
And his head was shaved and his body looked like it was badly beaten, and that's what I kept thinking of when I just kept thinking of Connor's story in this, and I was like, he is going to like after this whole ritual is done, he's going to be discarded off on the
Yeah.
side of the road or something, and like somebody is just going to like find him. And I just kept thinking of the boy in the box. I wonder if that was any sort of inspiration for them
Mm.
with this, because he even looked the same. But I mean, his shaved head even did so much for his character, right? And provided so much sort of like plot for that, where she would use it to lie to Piper because Piper couldn't see, his hair, and calling it curly red hair, and then Piper using it to actually identify and realize that Laura had been lying to her, right?
Yes. Yes, because and Laura played it off like she was being cute, right?
Mm.
And but we knew she wasn't. Like immediately that was like setting off
Manipulation. Yeah.
because Andy
That
was
wasn't
like
even
he's
a part of any plan. That wasn't part of a greater plan.
right, right.
That
That's
was her
just her being.
personality.
And Andy's lie was just, oh, he's smiling at you, which is like a fine lie. Right. That's not like
Yeah.
a big lie. That's just trying to make her
He was
feel more
trying to
comfortable.
make the world look friendlier than it was.
Yes. Yes. That's the thing. Most of his lies were always in her favor, not to hurt. They're never hurt her.
Yeah, those
Um,
girls liked you, you know.
yeah. And like she knew he was lying. Like, what is it? Doesn't she say
It's
is it at
grapefruit. When
the no at the
oh,
funeral, doesn't she say at one point in the movie she says you can stop trying to make things nicer for me, like she
yeah.
knows that's what he does. And like yeah, the was it pineapple or grapefruit?
It was grapefruit as the sort of like code word to like, hey, okay, drop it all and you be honest with me, right? We were honest with each other. And I think the only time he really lies to her that
Is it the
Laura
funeral?
uses against was at the funeral. And I think that was a lie that should have been, he should have like, I mean, but he's a teenager, but he could have like explained it to her as like, when she does
It's too
think that he
upsetting.
lies, he's only doing it to protect her, and she doesn't feel like she always needs to be protected. He should have been, actually, it wasn't to protect you, it's that I don't want to look at him,
Yeah.
right? And so I just don't want the responsibility of having to tell you what he looks like right now because I don't want to look at him. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
instead,
And
Laura jumps in and takes that away from him, because she
ugh.
knows she can. And
And that also like Chris, my dead ex, and I used to have a
mm,
thing where we would say wiggle. And like wiggle
Wiggle.
was you weren't allowed to lie. Like wiggle had to be the
Mhm.
truth. And like I once drunkenly was like, Wiggle, I hate you. And he was like furious at me because he was like, you can't use that. You did. And I was like, I'm joking. I was joking.
That's a
And like
violation.
very, very angry at me because we had like always done that since we were like younger. And I found that very charming because
Yeah.
like it took me a while to like, I was like, oh, I have no one to wiggle with to like make sure I know I'm like people are telling the truth. Um, and that was kind of like it's a weird thing to be like lost from your life when you have someone you do
Yeah.
that with because you know to trust that. You know that
Like
like,
she does. It's lost from her
yeah,
life too. Oh, that's
yeah.
terrible. It's awful. Mm,
Yeah, like it's like this brought up all of my grief thingies.
yeah.
So it was like a big ball of sensitive after seeing it. Um, but I do this movie is in now the pantheon of one other movie that has done this for me, which is The Exorcist, where I'm just so stressed that when I leave, I'm like, God, my shoulders are tense. And then I actually started to feel like, oh, a little bit lighter. Like
Yeah.
driving home, I felt like a little bit lighter.
You can
And I know a lot of people say that about horror, but it doesn't normally happen
I
with
think
me.
you can leave this movie. I think you. Yeah, I don't know. Can you? I would. I think that would be my question to the audience: is if you've seen this, were you able to leave it there, or did you carry it with you? Because I think I carried it with me a little bit. I think sort of the emotion aspect of the grief, I didn't so much, but the sort of like uncomfortable feeling, I did. Like I felt really uncomfortable still after I left the movie. Hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody else, what were you able to leave it? I don't know.
Able to leave that knife chewing scene, Jesus.
Blech!
So, oh, I forgot to say about that scene. The moment he let that child take that knife, I was like, I don't want to see whatever's gonna happen. Like, and I had looked away because I was like, I thought that he was gonna be stabbing himself, is what I thought the kid was gonna do.
Worse, worse.
Worse,
How can you
worse.
get worse? But he did it.
And I like did my like little bit of looking away where I'm kind of looking, and I looked up. So I know you didn't look, but I closed my eyes after this. But Zach, I looked up as we get a close up of his mouth
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that
I think
knife, and I was
that's
like, no.
probably when I looked away. Because I saw enough of that I could look away and just I'm very glad Alistair didn't see that one. Yep.
Oh wait, it's not like he left to go to the bathroom. It's like he just happened to have gone to
He
the
went to
bathroom.
happened to go to the bathroom right as like I think it was like when she's like, "Hey, you watch Ollie whatever. And he's like, I need
Oh
to go pee. So
God.
he went pee and he came back and everything was, I think they were like screaming and Ollie was in the room and blah, 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 blah. But like, even that, that's tame. That's safe.
You're like, you
That's
didn't
a
miss
safe
anything.
part to
Nothing
come
happened.
back to. Yes. And I told him this fucking shit, shit went down, Alistair.
What
Shit
the
went down.
fuck? Oh God.
I don't know, but also like, why are you having these kids watch over this demon
This
at home?
demon.
Why don't you stay home and watch the demon? Why is anybody
Right.
else watching this demon?
Fuck. Also, how'd she replace that window? I was thinking about that too, because that
Because
kid's like
they
whole
never
like
addressed it again. They never talked about it.
mm-mm.
But like, you would think going along with the rest of the movie that she just wouldn't have replaced the window ever. You
Yes,
know,
but then it is there like
is it?
later.
I didn't
Yeah,
even look. I didn't even look. There was a lot to look at, Ian. There was a lot going on. Okay.
there was.
I was terrified of that little pool shed until we finally got in there, and I'm like, this is not that bad. This is fine. Dead body in the
Right,
freezer. I've seen it before. It's okay.
like I genuinely, again, that's what I'm like. Just let everyone die. Like I just like I'm exhausted by how
No,
stressed I've been. I oh sure, dead body, whatever. It's a child's dead body. She's gonna drag it out. Just fucking do whatever. I don't care. Like
she really ended up back in the shape of water at the end of this movie too, just holding that
she
dead
sure
body in the
did.
water.
I also didn't get that she was. It took me a second to be like, wait, is she dead, or are they just like arresting her? I my one grievance, my one grievance
Mhm.
is that I love if I have a villain like this, I need them to have a good comeuppance. Like I wanted to see that woman torn
No,
limb
I
from
loved how
limb.
this ended. Actually, I think her comeuppance
I
is because I want somebody like this to. It's very specific. Hey, go ahead with yours.
I like I don't feel satisfied until like I wanted a piano to fall and squish her. Like I needed her terrible death. I
You didn't
needed
see
her to
Final
have
Destination Bloodlines yet, right?
no, is that a thing
Okay,
that actually happens in that?
maybe.
I was thinking of Final Destination when I said it. So I was thinking of the pane of glass that falls on the kid. Um, but I just like I there's very few like really good comeuppances for me are Catherine in Cruel Intentions. Like she really fucking gets what she deserves. Um,
Undeservedly. Believe
Michael
women.
Myers in Halloween Ends getting thrown in the trash compactor. That's a really good, satisfying comeuppance.
Mhm.
I know we've not to talk about Harry Potter, but Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter getting like
I don't even remember what happens to her.
chased out. I Dolores Umbridge was the character I hated the most in Harry Potter because
Mhm.
she felt the realist and she reminded me of my conservative grandmother. And so like the centaurs like race her out of the school and like kick the shit out of her, and that's how she ends
Oh
that
yeah, I
book.
don't remember that.
And like totally humiliated because she was like awful with the centaurs and like it just felt good.
Yeah.
And this there was no feeling good. There wasn't like a oh, all right. Like I was like, could she come back? I don't know. Like get that girl to safety. How do I know that girl's safe? Like
I do think that I was very satisfied with the way that Laura is just caught at the end, right? Because like her whole character is this supposed to be trusted official, trusted adult. Is really a
right.
professional trusted adult is what
Right,
she is,
right.
right?
That's like her
And
job. Yeah.
seeing a character like that who is very clearly abusing that trust and using it for evil, I want that person exposed to the world. I want the world to point fingers at that person and say shame, and that person to be around for them to do that, right? So I think if she died or if she'd gotten kicked, good gotten
No, but she did
somehow.
die. She
No,
did
she's not
die.
dead. She's not dead.
Yes,
She
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 is.
just laid in the pool at the end. She didn't kill herself.
No, because that was what I was saying. I didn't realize she was dead, but she was dead because that's why
Hell.
she opens up her arm because that's how you kill yourself. If you like slit your wrist, you have to slit it that way, and she opens up her
Um,
arm that way.
I don't think she's dead. I think she survived. She, to me, survived.
Hmm.
Don't ruin this ending for me because in my head, she is alive and got caught. But if she did die, then I guess I agree with you.
I do like your version though, because I like her being
I want
publicly
her to be
shamed.
shamed. I
I
want her to
do
go through
want that.
trial. So I think she's
Like I
still
want
alive.
Laura to be able to take the stand and be like, yeah, this is
I
all
did
the
forget that she opened her arm up.
yeah.
Well,
It,
fuck.
I was confused too because there isn't the whole pool should have been blood then, but it was kind of like dirty water, so I don't know.
Well,
And you
I
also
think
don't know how
Laura
long it
is
took them.
alive, and so is the other social worker woman. I forgot what her name, Wendy.
Wendy,
She is
Wendy.
alive, and she testifies against Laura. Hmm.
I was like, I almost was like, let the cops shoot her. I hope she like does a like "Rah!" with a knife and they just like blast her to pieces.
She's like carrying around that damn baby doll that she is.
Bigger than art.
I did love this movie though. I loved this movie. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's going to be one that I do want to watch a couple times again. I think it is going to be. I
God, I
just
haven't
love
remembered
Hereditary
this.
so much, and I'm glad to have another movie that feels like it fits on that shelf with Hereditary. Um, and whenever I'm needing to pull out those emotions, those will be the movies I go to, right? I'm just not there right now, so I don't know if I need a rewatch currently, but I
That's
know
fair.
it will happen. And I think because Talk to Me was good, but I felt like just okay about it. This one I feel like
Mm.
spades, like aces, wonderful movie, wonderful piece of work. And one of the people, I think it was Michael, one of the directors. It was either Michael or the other one, or Danny. Let me see. Let me read this to you because I went on his Wikipedia and there's a controversies tab, and I was like, oh, God. It says in December 2019, Michael was charged by the South Australia police with numerous crimes related to a video uploaded on 16 January 2019, which depicted him driving a heavily modified and watertight car on public roads while completely submerged and breathing partially through a hole. So he filled up car up with water. Just drove on the road. For
What
what
the fuck?
reason? We don't. It sounds like a YouTube prank. Maybe they were like
Yeah.
YouTubers or something like that. But fucking like, when I read that, I was like, oh, that makes sense for that type of person to make this movie. He's a weirdo. He's just
Yeah.
a little weirdo.
Yeah. That does. I was like nervous when you said it, and I was like, where are we going
I
with
know,
our
because
car?
when I saw controversies, I'm like, oh no, not an assault, not a bad boss
But no,
allegation.
it's
No,
driving in
he
a car full of water.
watertight car.
Not what I would have thought of.
Yeah, had to pay $2,000 in fines and court costs, and wasn't allowed to drive for 2 weeks.
Sure.
They had like both of them had like a little video right before, because we go to the Alamo, and they had a little video that played right before the movie, and I don't know, they're funny. They seem like funny little guys with colorful hair, you know, funny little Australian guys.
I wonder if I think they're hot. I have to look it up. I feel like I usually
I
think
could see,
Australians are hot.
probably, you probably do. So, mm, but yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else to say about this one?
No. My
No.
my only rewrite would be that she gets I like see her feel public shame.
Yeah. I know that this movie is getting a lot of, at least on my social media feeds, getting a lot of hate with people saying it sucks and it's just like shitty and blah, 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 and like comes apart. And I just don't see any of that. Don't see it.
I looked up I will say I haven't been on social a lot lately.
Hmm.
Um, but I did see I have it up in one of these tabs. Oh, The Atlantic, the muddled message of Bring Her Back. The new horror movie is best when it's not trying to say something. And like I don't know that I agree. Like I really I think other than like these are like really terrible things that can happen to kids, like I
Yeah.
don't really
It
think
felt
it
like
was
more of a
like
picture than
yeah,
a thesis statement, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Like it
That's
felt
what I
like a
think too.
picture of people who just handle different things differently.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Because not everything needs like this big grand
No.
message. I don't even know what the fucking message of Hereditary was.
Grief kills? I don't know.
Mothers? Who knows? I don't know. But I think that's another one. It's just like we're just watching people in this dollhouse. And I think this is kind of very similar to that, where that's just kind of the intention here is like it makes you sort of feel something and you attach your own sort of like life experiences to it, but you don't really have to pull a message from it. Because I don't think I pulled a
Yeah.
message from this one.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. And that's fine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I still loved it. I still
Yeah.
loved it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
I just realized you're wearing our shirt, our My
I
Bloody Judy
am,
shirt.
yeah. It's just not down there.
There I
I
am.
got a couple of them. I've got our magazine back there too.
I have mine sitting right here, and I just bought plastic easels because I wanted one
He,
to
he
hold it up.
uses it as a coaster, so it's got
Yeah.
little coffee rings all around it. But yes, thank you so much for watching this episode of My Bloody Judy. What did you think of Bring Her Back? Did you think it was shit, or I don't know? All your thoughts. Give us all your thoughts about it. Make sure to leave us 5-star rating on all platforms, and you can follow us by searching My Bloody Judy. So we there. That's where we are. Also, Sinners is coming out on digital pretty soon, so we should. I'm ready to cover that one too.
All right, cool. Yeah,
That'll be a
I
fun
love that
one.
movie.
All right, we will talk to
All
you
right,
next time.
bye.